Let's go to Liberal MP Tim Wilson. Tim Wilson, thanks very much for your time. Labor adamant that its advice and that the ASIO Act says that a minister could override medical transfer advice from medical practitioners. The Home Affairs Minister, though, out very strongly this morning saying that is not the case.
Well, exactly. I mean, when it comes down to it, you've got to trust ASIO, you've got to trust the government officials in this space around what the law actually applies, not merely Labor who like to wave around legal advice whenever it suits them to try and advance their political ends. We have to have a policy and a policy framework around asylum seekers that's compassionate. We need to have one that's very mindful of the need to recognise the needs of the millions of people in refugee camps around the world. We also have to make sure that we provide a safe and orderly process for people who are on Manus and Nauru to be resettled, but the proposal put forward before the Parliament is not one of them.
When you look at the general politics of this, though, the Labor Party day in, day out through its various spokespeople, yesterday Brendan O'Connor, Tony Burke, both of them former immigration ministers, saying that they will maintain support for offshore processing, they will maintain support for turnbacks. This, of course, comes ahead of the ALP conference. They will be able to shut down that internal disquiet from the left. You recognise that, don't you, given we're only a couple of months out from the election?
No, I'm not convinced of that at all. I mean, the practical reality is these are the sorts of people who actually put people on Manus and Nauru, and these are the people who lost control of our borders last time and led to thousands of children being put into detention centres, opening detention centres all across Australia. These are the people who judge a policy by its intent rather than its actual human outcomes. These people have acted in a disgraceful fashion. They've compromised our border security, created huge problems for those seeking asylum, and at the expense not just of those people who are seeking asylum, but also those people who languish in refugee camps across the world, who they turn a blind eye to. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Peter Dutton obviously represents the seat of Dixon. It's a marginal seat in Brisbane. He's confident. He says you can turn it around from 55-45. You're from a very different part of the country, and we saw the view towards the Liberal brand in the last couple of weeks of the Victorian election. I guess you're a bit more pessimistic than Mr Dutton.
No, I'm an eternal optimist. I believe that every member of Parliament has to reflect the values and the attitudes of their community, and I've always said I'm a forward-looking modern Liberal who seeks to advance the interests of the nation, to give young Australians opportunity and provide the security that older Australians so desperately crave, and that's part of my policy agenda and platform. That's what I've been working towards since the day I was elected, and I haven't wavered from that commitment at any point, and I'll be fighting Goldstein just like Peter will be fighting in Dixon.
And you're a chance, do you think, or
there's no such thing as an unwinnable.
Looks like it's entrenched.
There is no such thing as an unlosable or an unwinnable election. Every election is difficult. Every election you have to put your case forward about what it is you're trying to achieve for the people you represent in the country, but more critically, it's also up to our opponents. And what Peter Dutton has said quite rightly is that despite the perception by many people, people have deep questions about Bill Shorten and his agenda for this country, and more critically, straight to the core of his character about who he is and whether he's actually got the best interests of the country at heart or just his own.
Tim Wilson, talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.